In this video, we will discuss another example of the different modeling levels. This will be an extension to the example that I give previously on the problem of heat removal from a bed of hot solvent by immersing steel rods. So, as the title of this problem implies, it's basically a cooling of a fluid flowing in a circular pipe. So in a transfer phenomena, it is important that we always draw the physical systems of interest and then connect it with the assumption that is given. So transfer phenomena, basically what we want to do is to convert the physical problems into a mathematical um, equation. So in here, as we can see in here, we have a picture of a pipe in here that basically extend from this particular section into this particular section. So we focus only on this particular section, where this section is basically an inlet and this one is an outlet. And then we draw the relevant pipe wall sections in here. Okay. And in here we know that the fluid basically flows from the inlet to the outlet. For this particular example, we start from the simple problem first. The level 1 plug flow model. This is basically similar to the level 2 problem of the heat removal from a bed of hot solvent by immersing steel rods. So this is called cooling of a fluid because at this inlet sections in here, the fluid has a temperature of T0, okay, a T0 in here. And this T0 in here, the temperature is higher than the temperature of the wall. So as the fluid flows from the inlet to the outlet section, okay, as it flows from here to here, then there will be a heat transfer between the fluid and the pipe wall in here that makes the fluid becomes colder. So we expect that the fluid at this particular position in here will have a temperature that is basically lower than the T0. So this is why it's called a cooling of a fluid flowing in a circular pipe. And in here we take the inlet as Z equal 0, and this one is basically a fluid element of your fluid. So this is basically a shell element of your fluid. So we regard that the fluid element has this particular shape of a thin cylindrical shape. And you may ask why. Then we will go to the assumptions to find out why this is the case. The fluid element in here has a thickness of delta Z, and then the starting of the fluid element in here is at particular location of Z equal Z. So the first assumption will be we always take it the simple one. So we want to start with the simplest one. So we took it as a turbulent. So the fluid velocity profile is of plug shape that is uniform at all radial positions. So we have two different coordinates in this particular system. So the first one is basically at this particular direction, where this is represented by Z, and then another one is on the radial directions denoted by R. So if we take it the simplest one, so we take that this one is basically the velocity profile is the same at all radius. So meaning that the velocity does not depend on the radial directions in here. Okay, so this built up within this assumption is that the velocity of the fluid is quite high. So it's assuming a turbulent fluid flow condition where the fluid elements are well mixed in the radial directions. And as a consequence, the fluid temperature becomes fairly uniform in the radial directions. Okay, so by assuming something like this, meaning that the velocity in the Z direction, so because the velocity is flowing from the inlet to the outlet, so the velocity will have this is in the Z direction, and that will not be a functions of the radial. So the velocity are uniform and can be taken as equal to V naught in here. Okay, so that's the first important assumptions. And because of that, then we have the fluid element in here that basically have this thin cylindrical shape in here, because the fluid shape is related with the velocity shape in here. Okay, so at this particular position you may be a bit confused, but don't worry about it, it will become clear in the next example. And then the second assumption that we will take is that the physical properties of the density, the specific heat, the thermal conductivity, and etc. of the fluid remain constant. This is reasonable if the tube is not too long, so that's why we assume that this particular sections of the tube in here is not very long. Okay, and then the temperature difference is not too big, basically. The next assumption is that the wall temperature is constant and uniform, so it does not change in the Z or R direction at the value of Tw. So what we are concerned in here is the sections of the tube of the wall in here and in here, basically. So built up in this assumption is that the temperature of the wall in here, the one that is rastered in here, is not a function of R or Z. So what F in here it's Tw, in here is also Tw, and in here is also Tw. Okay, so we don't care so much about the coordinates of variations of the temperature in the wall. Okay, the next assumption is that the inlet temperature is constant and uniform, so it does not vary in the air direction at the value of T0. So whatever it is in here in the fluid part in this particular sections in here, then it will be equal to the T0. Okay, so that is something that is important as well. Therefore, the cooling of the fluid is essentially come from the contact with the colder pipe wall. Okay, and then the last assumption that we will take is that the thermal conduction of heat along the axis is small relative to convection. So as the fluid flows in the axial direction, so the fluid flows in this direction, there will be two types of heat conduction that is possible. The first one is the molecular, so that will be by the heat conduction. Okay, that will be by the heat conduction. The other one is the convective mode. This will be by the convection. Okay, so the last assumption simply implies that this particular mode of the heat conduction is much larger than this molecular heat conduction. So we can just ignore this particular heat conduction contributions. Okay, so by doing all of that, applying that all of the assumption, then we can start going into the steady state heat energy balance on the cylindrical fluid element. So in here we are dealing with a simplified case where there will be no accumulation of the heat on the elements. So whatever goes in will go out, or this is simply implied by this accumulation term, which is 0 in here. So we go back again into the fluid elements again, inspected in here. So we have this in mechanisms, and then we have two different out mechanisms. So this is going in, and then this is going out in here. And then we also have the particular fluid element surface that is in contact with the pipe. So this one is restricted by this particular surface in here. So in essence, we have three different contributing terms to the steady state heat balance. The first one will be what I would put in here is the convective heat flow in. So this one is the convective heat flow in. The second term is the convective heat flow out. So these are the convective heat flow in, these are the convective heat flow out. And then the third one is basically the heat loss through the wall. So for the convective heat flow in, that will be the velocity multiplied by the surface area. So this PR square in here basically refers to this particular surface in here. Okay, this particular surface in here is PR square. So that's where the conductive heat flow in, and it will be applied to this particular area in here. Then multiplied by the density, multiplied by the heat capacity, and then multiplied by the temperature. So that's why unit is very important in here. So we need to always check the velocity is meter per second multiplied by meter square, and then the density is gram per meter cube, and then the heat capacity is joule per gram Kelvin, and then we have the temperature terms in here, which is K. And then if we can scrap this with this cancel, and then this one cancel with this one, this one cancel with this one. So in essence, this term supposed to be joule per second. Okay, the second term in here is the same with the first term basically, except that we inspect that heat out in this particular coordinates. So this one is dealing with the out one. So the area will be the same again. The area will be pi r square. Okay. So I don't need to do this cancellation in here because this is the same in here. Okay, everything is the same except for this one that is inspected at the out. So Z plus delta Z. So this is, we are dealing with basically the elementary differential balances. Now for the heat loss through the wall, we are dealing with this, the surface area where it applies is 2 pi r delta Z. So in this particular picture in here, this refers to this particular surface area in here. Okay, so imagine if you have this particular thin cylinder things in here. Okay, you have basically the area that are in contact with the pipe is this particular area in here. Okay, this particular area in here has the radius of r. Okay, and then the thickness in here is delta Z. So that's why this particular surface area here comes from that particular surface area. It's basically the circumference of the cylinder multiplied by thickness. And then we have in here is the H in here, and then we also have the temperature difference in here. Okay, so this one in here will have a unit of meter square, and then this H in here will have the joule per second meter square Kelvin. Okay, so that's very important that we have this one. Okay, this term H normally comes in the Newton's law of cooling. Okay, so between the solid with the fluid, if we multiply by this term, then we can see that this meter square will cancel with this meter square, this Kelvin will cancel with Kelvin. So then all the terms in this particular steady state heat balance will have the same unit of joule per second. So it's very important that we check this is the case. If not, then obviously we will not be having a correct unit. So then what will happen is that we divide all this equation in here by this V naught pi r square rho Cp multiplied by delta Z. Once we do that thing, then we can have this term in here. Okay, this term in here. And then we can multiply by -1, and then we will get this term in here. A special notation that we have used in here is this T with the bar on top of the T. So that bar on top of the T is basically taking the average temperature within that fluid element. So imagine the average is taken in the middle portions of these fluid elements. Okay, so if we have this fluid element as Z, and then this one is at Z plus delta Z, then the temperature is taken at this particular middle point between Z and Z plus delta Z. Okay, so this particular problem refers to the differential balance. So we comes with this term of the delta Z. So in order for us to be able to solve this problem, we have to convert these particular equations into the differential form. So then we need to shrink the elements or the thickness of the fluid elements to approaching 0. Once we do that, then we will end up with this term in here will become dt over dz, and then this one will basically maintain the same thing. So this will be 2h divided by VO R rho Cp, and then as the delta Z approaching 0, then this particular notation will be T at Z minus T W, or the wall temperature, right? And then this one is, we can take it as or dt over dz plus this one is a lambda multiplied by T minus T W is equal 0, where so we have created another variables called a lambda. This lambda in here is taken as 2h divided by VO R rho Cp. So the unit of these things is basically K per meter. Okay, so we want to check why this is the case. Then because this T in here has a unit of K, and then Z in here has a unit of the length or meter basically. Then what will be the unit for this lambda? So we are interested to find that unit in here. So for this H, it will have the unit of joule per second meter square Kelvin divided by, then next the velocity meter per second multiplied by this radius as a unit of meter, and then the density will be gram per meter cube, and then the unit of the heat capacity joule per gram Kelvin. So we can start on scrapping or cancelling the terms in here, joule. Okay, so this meter in here will be cancelled out with this, gram will cancel out with this second will cancel out with this. Okay, and then this Kelvin will cancel out with this, and then this one finally will cancel with this. So we will have a unit of 1 over meter. Okay, so these terms in here will have the unit of K, and then this one will be 1 over meter. So that means we have a consistent unit. So this particular term in here is something that we call linear inhomogeneous equation of first order. Okay, we can simply solve this. This will not be too difficult. I will stop this video in here and continue the derivations until we get the solutions on the next video. Thank you for listening.